could policy people be understanding better about this? And I think first thing might be is if we just summarise what those 4 revenue streams that operators are actually making are. Development margins, DMFs, capital gains, and interest-free loans. You know, some of the responses I've seen that are RBA-driven say that operators don't make $1 million on an 8-year tenure of a $600,000 average value unit.
Yeah, that created quite a lot of drama, didn't it, over that, when I came up with those numbers. And they were very quick to push back on that.
They were, and so maybe we could just chunk that down and get comments from both of you on each. But say, first of all, the development margins, they've said they can appear high. They're a one-off only thing, and they can appear high. What should we understand more about development margins?
Well, that's when you come to buy your unit. Say you're buying a $600,000 unit. What you'll find is that they took out a bank loan for, say, $480,000 to build it, and there's $120,000 profit in there. Now, that is money that they have actually earned from the first round of people that move into a brand new village. So that's been included in my numbers. What they complain about is that by the time they've finished the village, that it doesn't end up being that 20 or 30% that they make on each unit. But I'm coming at this from the residents' perspective. I want them to understand that right from day one, 20% of the price they paid was profit for the operator on the development company. They collect up all those lots of 120 grand from all over the village, and they take that money and they go and buy the swimming pool, the cafe, the community rooms that go with it, the gardens around it. So that is their fixed asset. And right from the beginning, the residents have actually paid for that. And many residents don't understand that. They think that they've moved into a village and that they've somehow got a discount on it. They haven't. From the very beginning, when the village is fully sold down, they have paid for the lot. Now, there may be still 5% left in it for the developer. They can have still made a margin because they've taken all that lots of 20 and dumped it into the middle to pay for the services that go in there. But the residents don't quite understand that it's fully paid up. They think that their deferred management fee, that extra 20 or 30 that you pay when you die, is what's paying for that. It's not. It's all dealt with at the beginning. And operators even moan when they have a slight bit of debt left at the end. And you look at that and you think, gosh, you're carrying a little bit of debt left over. You've got a tiny bit of skin in the game still. And once you've paid that off, you'll become cash flow positive and make a heck of a lot of money. All the gains are yours, all the deferred management fee is yours. So I think in the numbers, I'm just trying to make it clear that there is quite a lot of fat in there still.
Because the RBA in its submission material has also said that the DMF appears high and that the capital gains can appear high.
They don't just appear high, they are high. And we've had extraordinary increases in house prices. I mean, there is no other way to skin this cat.
It is high, isn't it?
And the reality is that because of the nature of our contracts, they get all of the benefit of the capital gains.
Yes.
And so the residents are not getting any of those gains. And it's very unusual, right, Janine? I mean, New Zealand is very unusual.
Very. It's other markets don't work like this. I've got in-laws that have moved into a unit in the UK. They keep all of the capital gains in their unit, and when they exit, they pay a 3% fee to have it resold. You know, so this is odd, and you'll find in the numbers that we used about an 85% gain over an 8-year period.
That's right.
And that was compounding up at about 8% per year.
Compounded over the 8-year tenure.
Operators will then say, well, it won't be that going forward. Well, we go through different cycles. You know, they've made a lot more than that at times, and there'll be cycles where they make a bit less, but we're making policy for the future of all the different cycles that they go through, and we're just pointing out one cycle at the moment where they've made this much money, and that is just, it's icing on top of the cake for them. The whole model has to work just on that DMF fee, the 20 or 30% that you pay when you die. So that has to cover the refurbishment, it has to cover any excess in maintaining the village. the capital gain is just a nice to have. It is nearly pure profit at the end because they can't rely on it. But when it appears, and on a $600,000 unit over an 8-year period, they can have another $500,000 there.
Absolutely. And I noticed that the fourth revenue stream was actually the value to the operator of the interest-free loan itself.
Yeah.
Any observations about that? I noticed you put the RBNZ base rate of 4.24% compounded to figure out that could generate around 240,000 or so of revenue stream over an 8-year tenure on a $600,000 unit. So,
what do you think of a 4% loan? Do you think they could borrow money anywhere else at that rate?
4%, you'd be lucky, right?
Yeah, that's with no risk margin, isn't it? So the reason I've put that in there, and they don't like me putting that there either, but I insist on keeping it there because in a normal contract, in economic norms, you would give the operator an interest-free loan in return for living in the unit, the right to occupy. You've got this home to live in, fair enough, but you would get the capital gains. Yeah. So when they take both, when they take the capital gains and they're getting the benefit of an interest-free loan, it's double dipping. So when I put the numbers together, I'm saying this is the reality. Because they're double dipping, these are the benefits to them. Yes. They're getting your gains, they're getting your deferred management fee, they're making a development margin when you first move in, and they've got the benefit of your capital for free. Yes. And of course they'd like me to take that number out, but I'm insisting on keeping it there to show the reality of what double dipping is in an unfair model.
But there is an opportunity cost to the person who is living in the unit. They have given you this capital and they're not going to get any return on that capital, right? There is no capital gains on that. And you're going to pay your fee out of it. And you're not going to get a return on the capital that's being held.
That's
but it's not like the business is not going to use that money. If the shareholders really say that we are willing to have a return that's less than the OCR, I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, they wouldn't.
But essentially the investors are saying, it's okay for us to have a high return.
Yes.
But we will give no return. We will recognize no return for the residents. That's the power asymmetry that we keep coming back to. That's at the core of all of this.
Yes.
Like, we would never operate a business. We don't earn a very high rate of return.
Nobody would.
Nobody would. But they're saying, but for residents, the rules are different.